Hello and welcome back to another video. Oh, a little bit of an early windy pops there. Just crawling up from the deepest, darkest recesses of my mouth. Or probably my guts before it goes into my mouth. Anyway, you didn't want to hear that. Well, some people do like to hear the windy pops. But to... what's the word? To sort of quote... Voice is gone, my brain's gone, everything's gone today. To quote Canadian Gamer when he sometimes starts an expose kind of video. Oh my god. And yeah, this is RGT85 and the grift is on. He wants you to pay his unlimited medical bills. Yeah. And just, I'm not going to go through all the comments on this video. I listened to it earlier and my god. Look, got 26,500 views at the time of recording this. 2,370 comments. Good lord. The doctor said I shouldn't be alive. Apparently he disappeared for a couple of days, and I think when he realised that no one noticed, he thought he'd make this video. So, yeah, the reason I've skipped 5 seconds in is because sounds like he's got a clip from a TV show. I'm not going to play it because it's got the backing of a certain song, which I'm not even going to mention, lest the algorithm picks up that I've even mentioned the title and then decides to penalise me for that, even though I'm not playing the music. So, the doctor said I shouldn't be alive. Yeah, of course they did. Let's get into it.
Hi, it is RGT.
Oh, by the way, he's still not got his... For somebody who's got like 450,000 subscribers, he's still not bothered to sort out the lag between his voice and the picture. It's as bad as the Amico lag.
And it's been a couple days since I have talked to you guys. I did make a YouTube short the other day, but I figured you guys wanted to know what the hell happened. A lot of people don't know.
Oh, and oh, good God! He's still got the tag on from the from when he went into hospital. Unbelievable.
What the hell happened? I still have my hospital bracelet on.
Yeah, that's it. Well, fair play. I've been in hospital many times, and they put a tag on your arm, obviously in case you cark it. Don't think they obviously mustn't do toe tags anymore, because they just put it on your arm instead. So, yeah, but when you've got that on your arm, you don't want to get rid of it. Even though you've got to cut it off eventually. Otherwise, it's going to start stinking like a smelly YouTuber. So I think, yeah, you can sort of cut it off and then just put it on the shelf and look at it from time to time.
A lot of people have misconceptions about what ended up happening, so I'm just going to tell you guys what happened. I'm a pretty honest person.
He's a pretty honest person. Yeah.
Straight up, and just tell you how this is going to impact things going forward. So...
It shouldn't impact it at all. It may impact your wallet if you choose to believe every last thing he says.
Saturday night, I had a bit of a headache, as I said on the live stream.
Like we all get from listening to his Chris Griffin voice.
And my ear was hurting a bit as well.
Someone must have been talking about him.
And I thought, oh, I must have an ear infection or something like that. No big deal. I tried to go to bed, and I couldn't.
Probably a dick infection from too much self-pleasure.
Fall asleep or whatever. It was really annoying. I was supposed to go to my grandma's house for lunch, but since I never fell asleep, I just called her up and I was like, hey.
Hang on, he must be over 40 by now. And his grandma's still alive. She must be 100 years old.
I haven't been to bed yet. I'm just going to come over at like 9:30 or 10 and hang out, and then I'll leave around 1 or 2.
Right, you go over to your grandma's house at 9:30 in the evening and leave at 2 in the morning. My grandparents, when they were alive, they were like, they'd watch the news at 10 on ITV, which is obviously on at 10 o'clock, and then they'd go to bed not long after 10:30, and then they'd be up at the crack of dawn. No way they'd be up that bloody late.
She's like, okay, that's cool. So I drove over there, and my ear was just kind of getting worse and worse. Like, it hurt more and more. And you're probably thinking, who cares about an ear infection? Like, that's not a huge deal. Stick around.
Yeah, because the grift is on.
So now we're eating lunch, and like my jaw is...
Oh, lunch. I've got lost already with this, and I've already heard it. So you got it around at 9:30. Who goes around at 9:30 in the morning? How does he get up in the morning? This is very bizarre. Unless he went over at 9:30 at night and then he just forgot to leave at 2 in the morning and then ended up staying for lunch.
It's hurting. Like, it hurts to open my mouth to eat, and it's just all on this side. It's this ear and this part of my jaw, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah, it's the weight on his jaw from a silly beard. If you have a shave, you won't have that problem.
And so I'm like, that's my grandma. I'm like, have you ever been to that urgent care place down the road? And she was like, yeah, I've been there a few times. It's good. I brought grandpa there once for something. I was like, I think I'm going to go there because my ear is really bothering me. And, you know, I think there's an infection and I need to go get that taken care of.
His voice being out of sync is really bothering me.
So I went down to the urgent care, signed the papers or whatever, and they did a blood pressure check. And
I have a blood pressure check every time I go to the doctor's, and if it's high, I think that the second you got something over something. The second one is usually the most, the most not difficult thing, but the one you need to look out for the most. So you got the high number and then a lower number. And I think probably last time I had a blood pressure check, it might have been about 150, 160 over 90. May even got down to 140 over 90. So it was pretty good. But, you know, if it starts going over, excuse me, if it starts going over 100, then on the second number, then, yeah, you've got to sort of watch yourself. And from time to time, there was a time when I'd have sort of regular checkups. I mean, I sort of do have semi-regular checkups at the doctor. But, yeah, when I was sort of having regular checkups at the doctor, it was kind of over 100 regularly, the second number, and needed to come down a bit. But then that's why they check you, and then the medications are altered accordingly.
And they took another blood pressure check, and they took another, and they were like, oh, this machine must not be working, and they got a manual one, and they took it.
It sounds like a Chevy Chase film happening. They tried a blood pressure check, it didn't work. Then the second one was wrong, and then, oh, the machine must be broken. Yeah.
2 more times, and then the nurse practitioner came in.
This is such crap. This really is. They would not take multiple bloody things and assume the machine was broken, because they'll be calibrating that machine on a regular basis and be testing it. Testing is calibrating, but they'll have checked him a couple of times. You know, it's not like God, what film did I watch? Yeah, Death Becomes Her. That was on ITV again recently, and it was on during the day, so there will be certain little things they cut, but most of it is pretty, you know, close to the knuckle that it can just about stay on air, because they don't, anything where they don't swear, for example. Although I think it was only PG, so there's not really much swearing in it. But, you know, the doctor, I think played by Sidney Lumet, I think, tries to check Meryl Streep's pulse, and he just tries twice with his stethoscope, just gets nothing out of it, and then he just throws it in the bin and gets another one out, and then realizes the stethoscope was right all along. She's just got no heartbeat. But yeah, so this is Death Becomes Her, basically.
And she took it, and she said, how did you get here? I said, I drove my car. She was like, where do you live? I told her where I lived. I said, I passed by here to go to my grandma's house. I had lunch at my grandma's, and I'm passing by here to go back home. And I figured I'd stop for my ear. Why? And she was like, if you don't go to the emergency room right now, you will die by the end of the day.
Now, that is the biggest load of crap I've ever heard in my life. There's not a single nurse, doctor, whatever in the whole universe. Well, maybe not out, maybe outside the, it could be outside of the Earth, but certainly not on the Earth. They would say, you are going to die today. The grift is on. What a load of utter bunkum. No one was going to tell you. They might be concerned about high readings and so on. They are certainly not going to tell you that you are going to die. That is just nonsense. That would be incredibly unprofessional. It is never going to happen. I would stake my aortic valve replacement on that.
I was like, oh, why is that? She said, your blood pressure is 240 over 190.
Now that's crap as well. There's no way his blood pressure is 240 over 190. I say mine, when it's good, it's like 140, 150 over 90. My dad used to have high blood pressure. I think, I mean, it did get pretty high at times, and I think you might have been looking at maybe 190 over 130, something like that. There's not a single chance in hell it would be 240 over 190. That is fantasy figures. That's complete and utter rubbish. I can't believe this. Yeah, and there's people who believe this. There's people who don't need to go to hospital regularly, and I'm very glad that they don't. But there'll be people who just believe what he says. More fool them. It's just really, really sad.
And I was like, "How is that high?" Like, I don't know.
Yeah, as if he hasn't looked that up.
No, that seems kind of high. And she was like, I don't know how you're not having chest pains. I don't know how you're walking. I don't know how you're talking to me right now because
This is Death Becomes Her. He is Meryl Streep. Oh, this is such bullcrap.
you should be like in cardiac arrest. I'm like, oh, okay. So they were like, we'll call you an ambulance. And I said, hey, I do not have insurance because I'm a stupid YouTuber. So
There we go, you see, there's another one. So we've had Dreamcast guy with his so long dental scam, dreaming these braces. 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 Yeah, so Dreamcast guy, he's had a dental scam going, and he says he's not been to the dentist for 10 years, and it's going to cost $15,000 for his ridiculous teeth to be fixed. And now RGT is wanting your money to help keep him alive, because he'll have set himself up as a self-employed YouTuber where you have to declare all kinds of, same as them all, you have to declare all kinds of this and that to the government to say you're self-employed. I mean, we get that in the UK at least for people who are self-employed, and you have to submit your tax returns, your income and expenses regularly, well, on an annual basis to the HMRC to prove what you're earning, etc. And so there's not a chance that he wouldn't have, especially with the number of subscribers he's got, 'cause he'll be earning a pretty penny. There's not a chance he won't have declared this to the government, his self-employed status. There's not a chance he won't have set up an accountant for that kind of thing, because as I understand it, a fairly basic accountant isn't too much money when you're making a packet on YouTube for a start. And so there isn't a chance in hell he hasn't got insurance. I mean, that's the thing in America. You need to get medical insurance. If I was in America, I'd have insurance, and I'm not a YouTuber. But luckily in the UK, I've used the NHS a lot all my life, ever since I was born, because they stopped me dying at the age of 12. And so there's not a chance that he wouldn't have health insurance. This is such a lie.
we're not calling any ambulance. I will call a family member. I will phone a friend. So I called up my uncle who lives nearby, and he was like, yeah, I'll come get you. And so he came and got me, and we rushed down to the ER. They took my blood pressure. They ran a bunch of tests. They gave me a bunch of drugs. I took so many drugs there. I mean, there were obviously...
That sound, I know he says, tells his editor to put a sound effect in or something, but that sounds like... I'll just play it again.
They gave me a bunch of drugs. I took so many drugs.
If you go to the third level of Donkey Kong in the arcade, that thing that's sort of bouncing around the screen trying to kill you, boing, 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 like a sort of springy girder thing. That's what it sounds like. Just play it again.
Pressure. They ran a bunch of tests. They gave me a bunch of drugs. I took so many drugs there. I mean,
boing.
And there were obviously drugs that they gave me. Brett, censor out the F word that I just...
So there's no... If he's got... So he's going to have to pay for those drugs anyway. He'll have insurance for that. He will do.
Said, give it a little beep. But yeah, they gave me a ton of drugs. Some of them, of course, were, blood pressure medicine. Some of them were blood thinners. Some of them were pain medicine.
I'm on blood thinners. I have warfarin. Join the club. Join the party.
Because my ear was still killing me. Some of them were sedatives because I was a nervous wreck. And then...
So hang on, let's just go through all that again.
Some of them, of course, were, blood pressure medicine. Some of them were blood thinners.
Well, name these items. I get lisinopril, which is for blood pressure. Bendroflumethiazide, which I think that eases the blood pressure because it makes you wee more. And the one thing you don't need to do when you're in your 40s, and as I've gone into my 50s now, you don't need anything to help you wee more because you're perfectly capable of doing that by yourself or generating enough. How the hell I sat through that Avatar 2 that was 3 hours 12 minutes, God alone knows, without going to the toilet. Well, I did it by just having almost nothing to drink at all before watching the film that day. And this weekend coming up, we've got Babylon with Brad Pitt. And me and Brad, we always go to the cinema together. A new Damien Chazelle film. It's 3 hours 9 minutes. It better be bloody good. I tell you, it can't be any worse than Avatar 2, I tell you. Anyway, so he's got blood, so he's not even naming the medication. But yeah, those are two, lisinopril and also known as Zestril. Bendroflumethiazide, that's another one. And then he talks about blood thinners, that's, warfarin. So I'm just sort of filling in the gaps there.
Some of them were pain medicines because my
aspirin. I'm not allowed to take aspirin. I can take paracetamol, but I can't take aspirin because that affects the warfarin.
Ear was still killing me. Some of them were sedatives because I was a nervous wreck.
Sedatives, that's probably a Jägermeister.
And then, so they did a bunch of stuff, and they're like, we're going to have to keep you overnight. And I was like, no, I don't want to stay overnight. I can't afford to stay overnight.
Right. If a doctor tells you to stay overnight in hospital, you stay overnight in hospital. This is if what's actually happened is true, then you stay overnight in hospital. Because, no point going, what are you going to rush home for? To make a video like this? Do me a favour. You can take a day off, you silly sitting in front of a camera in a smelly room. Good God.
They're like, no, we're going to have to keep you overnight. I was like, fine. You could do one night. So the nice thing was the room did have...
Oh, you got to stay one night in hospital. Poor little lamb.
The TV, so I was able to watch the Giants game and watch the Giants win. So, that was cool.
Hang on. Just go back.
So I was able to watch the Giants do one night. So the nice thing was the room did have a TV. So
we don't have TVs in NHS hospitals. They used to years ago when I had the aortic valve operation in '94. They would have a communal TV in the ward. So yeah, you couldn't really watch an awful lot on it. So it wasn't really worth the bother. All I can remember is them playing Peak Practice with Kevin Whately, and I just remember the music, the intro music to Peak Practice. Look that up on YouTube. It sounds like a cat being strangled. It's horrible. And you just hear it droning away. I thought, oh God, please put it away. And I was in for over a week, and I thought, is it over a week? No, I was in for 1 week, from the Friday to the following Thursday, I think. Or maybe Thursday to Thursday, I can't remember. But either way, I was in there enough to hear it at least once. It used to be on ITV around about 8 o'clock in the evening. And it's just like a cat being strangled. It's horrible. So you have to put up with what other people are putting up with. But now they have TVs which are one per bed, and it costs an absolute fortune to watch normal telly. But then again, if I was going to hospital again now, I'd take my phone with me, and obviously with BBC iPlayer and ITVX as they call it now. There's an awful lot of stuff you can watch. Of course, Netflix. I can actually I finally catch up with Netflix stuff.
I was able to watch the Giants game and watch the Giants win. So that was cool. But I was still in the ER. They actually didn't have a room available for me. I felt like Mary and Joseph and the baby Jesus. They didn't have a room for me, but they did move me to another.
Of course he is. That's exactly what it's like. He's exactly like a fictional character, or 3 fictional characters. Mary, Jesus, and Joseph. All fictional characters. God is another fictional character. A figment of a lot of imagination of people. Why? God knows. Oh,
portion.
Sorry.
Mary and Joseph and the baby Jesus. They didn't have a room for me, but they did move me to another portion of the ER that had like a more of a bed instead of just like the other thing I was in was more of like a, I don't know, it was more like just a table that had like a hump in it. This was like an actual bed.
So he was on like a trolley? He's struggling to find the word trolley?
And it had like bedding on it. So,
Yeah, just let's just hear that bit.
in it. This was like an actual bed, and it had like bedding on it.
Excuse me, I've just taken a bit of water with a bit of an ice cube in it, but that's very handy. When you have a bed, a lot of people watching this video or even listening to it will have a bed in their house. And what do you have on a bed? Bedding. Brilliant. It just how do they marry the two up? Bed and bedding. I really don't know.
So, I stayed there. I hardly ever slept, of course, because it's hard to sleep in a hospital. And then the next morning,
That I can attest to. I remember once waking up in the middle of the night, and there was because once you start hearing bits and pieces going on, it's difficult. It is difficult to get back to sleep. But there was a man sat on the opposite side of the room, and he just sort of sat up as well, an old man, and he had a hole in his throat. And I just woke up, I looked across the room, saw this man with a hole in his throat that wasn't covered up, and I just thought, oh, that's gross. But yeah, that's life. I hope he was okay in the end, but that was almost 30 years. Actually, that was probably even longer than that. Wasn't the time I had the aortic valve. That'd be around about 87 thereabouts. So that was 36 years ago almost. So yeah, he's definitely not alive anymore. But yeah, I hope he was okay then.
they were like, obviously this was Martin Luther King Day, which was Monday. They were
Oh, obviously, yeah, because in the UK we obviously have Martin Luther King Day. I think maybe next year we'll have Boris Johnson Day and Liz Truss Day and Rishi Sunak Day. I don't know.
like, well, we've got your blood pressure pretty much under control. We're going to give you medications and have you follow up with someone. I'm like, great, time to go home. And they're like, you can't go home yet. And I'm like, I have to go home. I don't think you understand. I do not have insurance.
Doesn't have insurance, or doesn't? Sorry, doesn't have insurance. Is it insurance or insurance?
And they were like, well, you need to have this test done because it kind of is going to determine, whether you need something else done or not. Because, if the test comes out positive, it's fine. If the test comes out negative, you need to have work done immediately. So I'm like,
I'd like to know what his blood pressure reading was the next day, because after a night of in hospital being checked, it should be down a hell of a lot. But he doesn't tell us.
they've already done a bunch of CAT scans. They already done all these other tests. And
A bunch of CAT scans in the middle of the night. They haven't done a bunch of CAT scans on you. You've inflated. You've wildly inflated the blood pressure readings. They've not done any CAT scans on you. Not at all. Why would they do a CAT scan? Is for the brain. I mean, well, they might not find very much there, but there's no way. If you had a bit of an ear infection, there's no way they'd do a CAT scan on you. Not at all. And certainly not a bunch of CAT scans. Go off it.
I'm just thinking of the dollar signs. And like, it really took all my willpower to say yes, that I would stay another night, because I did not want to. I did not want to, but I said, okay. They ended up getting me a room. The thing that they did was called an angiograph, I think it's called, or something like that.
Angiogram. I've had these, and yeah, he's about to describe it. So he may well have had one of these, but we may have just looked it up on Dr. Google, but we'll see.
Basically, they go into an artery of yours. They went through my wrist, and they pump it full of a dye, and then they do an X-ray and look at all your blood vessels.
Yeah, I had this. I was about 14, 15 at the time, and they went through my groin. So sorry if you're eating your lunch at this time, or your breakfast, either, or any meal, quite frankly. Now you're thinking about my groin. You did not want to be thinking about my groin today. But yeah, they go through that, and then they pump a little dye through your arteries to the point where it then makes you feel nice and warm in your chest, and you feel all the glow, and yeah, and that's that basically. And then it just gives them a chance to have a good look at your heart.
If there's something clogging your blood vessels, they'll be able to fix it. But the reason they wanted to do this was because there's an enzyme in your heart, begins with a T, tryptophan or something like that, that when they did my blood work, it started out fine, and then it sparked up like super high, and they noticed that there was a little damage to like the left side of my heart, so they wanted to see, you know.
Okay, a little damage on the left side of his heart. That might possibly be down to the fact he's a chain smoker. So the first thing you should be doing is cutting all that out. I've never smoked. I probably tried, yeah, I would have like tried a cigarette, university, just taking like one drag, like Bill Clinton. I did not inhale. I just remember just trying it and then just, I think, sort of inhaling slightly and then breathing it out. But I don't think I inhaled properly because I didn't cough or anything. But I just thought, this is gross. This is not for me. I'll just have another pint of lager. That'll do. That's all I need. Why do I need smoke and cigarettes? But the fact he's a chain smoker will not help. The fact he's stuck inside all day, playing video games and talking about video games, that will not help. You need to get since I've turned 50. I mean, I was already going for sort of half-hour walks each day, but since I turned 50, pretty much Saturday and Sunday, almost all Saturday and Sunday, most Saturdays and Sundays, I will go for a good long walk, a couple of hours. Sometimes an hour, sometimes 2 hours. But I mean, I've done a little less, but it's been absolutely freezing cold over winter, which is a bit annoying. But as it starts to get warmer again, I will do these more. But you need to get out there, and you need to get some exercise. Get back on your port life, mate. Get some exercise.
Was that happening pre or post tense, or was it happening because there was some sort of blockage? So they had to do that test. Thankfully, there was no blockage. So essentially,
there's no blockage, just a bit of a blockhead.
What ended up happening was I had a heart attack without physically having a heart attack.
He has not had a heart attack. If he had a heart attack, he'd still be in hospital. There's no way he's had a heart attack. Let that sink in.
My body, my insides, pretty much had a heart attack.
They pretty much had a heart attack. So he's just, I had a heart attack. No, I pretty much had a heart attack. You didn't have a heart attack. Don't lie.
I just never felt it.
Crap. Absolute crap.
Never had any chest pain. I never had any dizziness or blurriness or loss of vision or...
Yeah, because you didn't have a heart attack.
Or, fainting or anything like that. I don't know. So basically, my blood pressure had just been high for a very long time.
If it had been high for a very long time, then he would have had severe, issues to deal with. He wouldn't have just carried on doing what he's doing. This is such a nonsense.
And it just went untreated. So whenever, I wouldn't feel good, which, I mean, if you look back at some of my videos, you can see there's times where I'm kind of, groggy or tired. I got a headache.
Yeah, it's because you just rolled out of bed at 2 in the afternoon, shot a video in 10 minutes, and then gone back to bed.
That and the other. It was because of that. It was because of my blood pressure. So I have done some damage to my heart, they said, but it's not terrible. I'm taking medicines that will help sort of fix that and steer me on the right path. Taking some cholesterol medicine. My cholesterol was a little bit high.
Yeah, I take cholesterol stuff as well. Ooh, windy pops. I've had a nice bit of garlic bread. Yeah, cholesterol stuff is good to take. Well, cholesterol isn't good, but cholesterol medication is good. So, yeah. Do take better care of yourself, get some exercise, but you did not have a heart attack, and you're inflating the blood pressure. I would love to see what medical records say, but we won't get to see.
I had to follow up with another guy on Thursday. I don't know when this video is going up, but yeah, so that's what happened. They said I pretty much, if I didn't go to get my ear looked at, I would have died. But
rubbish. If I didn't get my ear looked at, I would have died. What an absolute load of old tosh. That really is. This is rubbish. This is just scaremongering toss. So, he's seen Dreamcast Guy's video with the dental scam, and now he's got, I nearly died. It's the Four Yorkshiremen sketch from Monty Python. Hey, when When I was born, we lived in a cardboard box in the middle of the road. And one of the other guys goes, middle of the road? Cardboard box in the middle of the road? Luxury! And then they attempt to outdo one another. This is such a load of crap.
Both the walk-in clinic and the doctor that I saw. But on another note, not only have I quit smoking cigarettes, but I've quit vaping because you're not able to vape at the hospital, so now I don't smoke anything.
I don't know. Well, the jury's out on whether vaping is as bad as smoking. I don't know. I don't do either. I've seen people who at work who do vape. I'd rather they vape than smoked. But yeah, it's better if you can cut it all out altogether. There was a woman I went out with for a short time, and I didn't want her smoking in my house. Then she'd smoke outside. But then I got her onto vapes because of course, when she came back inside, she smelled like a dirty ashtray. And I got her onto vapes, and she didn't like vapes. She just couldn't be bothered with it, and so she just gave up in the end. So even though we split up, it was a plus that she stopped smoking.
But your mom's kisses. So, yeah, that
Just say it again.
I suppose now I don't smoke anything. But your mom's kisses. So,
Whatever that means.
yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I have no idea how big this hospital bill is going to be.
But you'll inflate the figure. I can't wait to hear that. I'll be making another video on that. Good God.
But that's life. That's life. I'll sell some games or something like that.
Will you sell some games? I doubt it very much. I just thought it says I'm subscribed. Am I getting all the notifications? I want all the notifications. All the notifications. More I say. Hang those who talk of less.
If I have to, I'll figure something out. Go on a payment plan.
So long payment plan. Payment plan. Yeah, he'll figure something out. He'll figure something out in about 3 seconds' time.
I don't know. Maybe I'll make a GoFundMe with just no limit.
Ah! There you go. Unlimited medical funds. Pay my medical bills. Give me money. Pay my dental bills. Pay for my teeth. Pay for a new heart. Pay for this. Pay for that. Because I do have insurance. I'm like Metal Jesus with my basement scam video. This is another basement scam video. Because he had insurance and he pretended he didn't have insurance. So this is RGT's basement scam. What a joke.
On it and just be like, whatever. If I make $1 on it, hey, that's $1 towards my medical bills. But
if I make $1 on it, you'll make a shit ton of money. And you fucking know it. Scumbag.
But I got to see what all that comes in looking like. I got to get some health insurance, obviously, as well. So I'll do that. I'm very tired. I'm very groggy. My body is...
You're always tired. Because all you do is sit inside all day and you don't even open the curtains.
Very weak. I'm going to go lay on the couch. Probably catch some Z's. Maybe even just...
Zeds.
Go to bed at 7 o'clock when I'm filming this. But that's where I've been. Take care of yourself, kiddies. Go for a checkup once in a while. Don't be an idiot, stubborn person like me. Because I'm not the brightest tool in the shed. I'm the sharpest tool in the shed. The brightest crayon in the box.
Brightest crane in the box. What the hell does that mean?
Alright, I'll be back hopefully soon with my normal content. There's some stuff I've seen that I want to talk about, but I figured I'd just get you guys up to date. Thank you for all your support. Remember, we're trying to hit 500,000 subscribers. Do it before I die.
Such a grift. The grift is on. That's disgusting. That really is disgusting.
And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.
Absolute load of old crap. Just, poor old bloody John Hancock. He looks like he's having a bloody, yeah, fellatio is the word. Anyway, let's just go back to...
Before I...
Just, oh, God. Yeah, so there we go, RGT. He wants your money to pay his unlimited medical bills. This is his basement scam video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. In the meantime, please like this video, share with your friends, subscribe if you haven't already, click on the bell for all notifications. Hey, Angle started an unlimited GoFundMe to pay for the aortic valve replacement operation I had in 1994, where the actual aortic valve cost £50,000. Pay me £50,000. Don't pay me £50,000. The NHS paid for all of that. But as I say, yeah, I know I have links and all that shit in my in my what's it below. But as I've always said, if you'd rather not do that and give money to a food bank instead or a charity, please feel free. You know, they're there if you want to do that. But if you'd rather give it to the food bank and so on, that's much better. But yeah, so leave all your thoughts in the comments below. I'll finish off properly because I've lost track of where I am. So in the meantime, please like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't already, click on the bell for notifications, and cue dental scam, cue hard scam. Oh, good God.